Hi, today we are going to talk about Microsoft Search using Graph API. So this is the agenda for today. I'll give you the background about Microsoft Search. I'll talk about why new endpoint of Microsoft Search was introduced. We'll go through the syntax, and I'll also show you a cool demo of React.js app using Search API. So we are familiar with this. Microsoft Graph is the gateway to data and intelligence in Microsoft 365. It provides a unified programmability model that you can use to access the tremendous amount of data in Office 365, Windows 10, enterprise mobility, security. So this Microsoft Graph API, it gives you a unified REST API and a comprehensive developer experience to integrate with data and intelligence exposed by these Microsoft 365 suite. As we know, in every other product of Office 365, we see that search bar is available where we can search the content in that particular app. So this Microsoft Search is an intelligent enterprise search experience from Microsoft that applies the artificial intelligence from Bing and the deep personalized insights surfaced by the Microsoft Graph to make search more effective. It harnesses the collective knowledge and productivity of org and surfaces relevant content to keep the end users up to date. So since we have this search capability available in every other Microsoft product, Microsoft has decided to have a unified endpoint API. So there are a number of reasons to have this, and let's go through that. So the first reason, Microsoft wanted to have a unified API that will support its different Office 365 products. So this API is introduced so that there is something that can be elevated and support all different workloads. So these are the different workloads. We have OneNote, SharePoint, Outlook, and so on and so forth, which we see on the screen. The another reason is the power intelligence in Microsoft Search. As we know that the intelligence result which come on the screen are not coming from the product itself. So if you go in Outlook and if you search for something, say, who are my colleagues? Okay, so if you search that, these results are not coming from Outlook. These results are coming from the Graph API. So Graph API is, trying to figure out that whom we are interacting with and whom our conversations are happening, and based on that, it displays us the list of our colleagues. So this intelligence is one of the reasons why a unified service is introduced, so that the intelligence of Microsoft Graph can be harnessed. The third reason was to enable the multi-search. So say, for example, I want to search for a Office 365 webinar. Okay, so I have this discussion, I have some emails in my Outlook, I have some discussions done on my Microsoft Teams, and some of the feedback which was given on Workplace. So these are the different entities available from where I want to find all the information at once. Okay, so this multi-search capabilities is what was another intention why this Microsoft Search unified service was introduced. The The fourth reason for introducing Microsoft Search was it enables you with a search entity. By that, what I mean is it not only provides you to search within your Office 365 products, say MS Teams or Outlook, or your SharePoint, or uh, the other OneNote, but it helps you to search within, say if there is a shared drive, if there is another line of business application, so those can be searched using this unified API. Okay, and the last thing about providing the filters. So this search API will not only provide you the search results, but it will also provide you logical filters so that you can filter and you can filter out the content what you're really looking at. You can put filters on that. So I talked about a single point API, support for key Office 365 products, intelligence for developers, multiple entities, and connectors. So these connectors is nothing but with these connectors you can connect to your line of business applications or any applications which are available on the cloud, and so on and so forth. Let me explain you here. So this is a typical architecture of a connector. This connector is, we have two connectors here, connector A and connector B. Connector B is connected to on-premise data source, whereas connector A is connected to a cloud-based data source. So these connectors can be configured in your Microsoft Admin Center, and when you call your search service from your search applications, these search applications will provide you results from this data source, as well as your Office 365 products as well. Okay, so there are three ways you can get the data from the connector. You can either have you can either use Microsoft's connectors which are available. You can use the partner connectors which are available, or you can build your own connector as well. You can write your own custom connector, and you can put rules into your connector so that only the trimmed content from your data source is available to this graph API, which can be shown on the screen. So to give you a perspective, let me show you the number of connectors available. So these are the connectors which are available by Microsoft. There are totally six connectors available, and this list is growing every passing day. So we have this list, as well as there are connectors by partners. Okay, so these if you see the list, you find a product, and there are so many products which are available for which can be connected to Graph API. Specifically, the one which I liked was the Workplace connector, which connects to your Facebook Workplace, which connects to your workplace and take the data and show it in your Microsoft Search. Not only these connectors, you will be able to connect and get the data in your Microsoft 365 applications, but you can write your own custom app, and with that custom app, you can pull the data from Office 365. You can pull the data from all these connectors and show it on your in your custom app. Okay, so let's see. Let me get back to the slide, and let's see what syntax we have. So whenever you're calling this search service API, this is the request that will be sent, that you need to send, and these are the entity types. So here you define your entity types, and it supports multiple entities. Microsoft Graph Drive item. So this is taking the data from your OneDrive. Here you will mention your query, And there are multiple parameters here as well. So from 0 is, it will show you all the results from your first results. You can change it to second, third, fourth. So it will start the results from your fourth, from your result set. It will show you from the fourth record. This is the size. So if you have a single page application, you can trim this, or you can increase the number of size of data results which is coming back. And you can also enable the top results. So top results is nothing but, if you see in your Outlook, let me show you that. So if you see in your Outlook, you see the top results. Okay, so these are your top results. When you search something, these are your top results, and this is your all results. So you can enable that, you can send that parameters, and based on that, the search results will be available. Okay, let's see this in action. So I'm using a Graph Explorer here so that I can show you the response. So I've logged into the newer version of Graph Explorer. Here you can search for these different options are available on the left hand side, and this is the request body. So when in the request body, you need to send the entity type, and you need to mention the entity type, whether you want to get the data from messages, whether you want to get the data from events, drive items, external files, and external items, so on and so forth. So say for example, I want to get the data from message. I can run it from here. It will take time for this query to run. And here is the result, what I get. Okay, since it is searching for events, I think I'll not have anything there, but yes, I can get the data for messages. So this is kind of response you get from your search API. You get this hits counter, you get the total number of records, and you'll also get the score of the search results. Okay, and this is the additional data, what the search results, what you have got, which Outlook item, who was sent, replied by, and so on and so forth. So we'll see an application. I'll show you the demo in that will consume all this data which is sent by this unified API. This Graph Explorer is a great tool for developers to start seeing some calls that can be made to the graph and what kind of data comes back. However, for intermediate and advanced developers, I recommend to use Postman over Graph Explorer. The reason why you should be using Postman and not Graph Explorer is because once you register your app, different permissions are used. So it's common to run into issues when you move from Graph Explorer to your code, usually related to not having permissions, scopes allowed on the app, and registration. So let me give you an example. Say for example, I'm calling this groups. Okay, I executed this, and it will throw an error saying that the authorization request denied. Okay, because I have insufficient privileges, and so on and so forth. So if you go back to your Postman, in Postman, you can set up here. This is the environment and the variables which I've set. So I have set up my tenant ID and the tenant secret and all this client ID. I have set up everything here. So now when I make a call to any graph APIs, specifically search and of this, so it is going to use the same app which is registered in Azure Active Directory, and it will give you the same results that your code is going to call, and you are going to get the results. So let me call this. I think my authentication token has expired, so let me get the authentication token first. Okay, and now I'm calling this messages. Yeah, and here is the result. So I searched for a query test, and it is providing me the results. Okay, similarly to this message, we can also call the drive item, like the records in my OneDrive. I'm querying for 2018, and these are number of results 7. I can increase this result. So currently it is 25, and I have items 20 with the keyword 2018. These are the items which are matching. Okay, so I was talking about multiple entities. Okay, so what you can do is when you're sending a request to the search API, you can when you're calling, you can define multiple entity types. Okay, drive item and external files and whatever entity types you want the data. Excuse me, you want this data from. You can get into a single go with these entity types defined. So say for example, you have data in your Outlook, you have data in your Microsoft Teams, if you have data in your OneDrive, SharePoint, you can call it from here. Currently, OneDrive messages event, these are the entities available, but it's already in the roadmap to improve the list of entity types, and definitely this list is going to increase. Okay, so these are the results. This is the hits count containers, and then this is the score of the data which is enrolled. So let's go back and I'll show you a demo of the application. Okay, so let me show you the demo first of the application, and then we'll talk about what is being done in the application. Okay, so this is my application, and I search for the word template. Okay, and these are the results which I'm getting. So what I'm doing here is, this is my standalone, my local host React.js app. This app is going to call with this search query string. It is going to call the search API, and it is returning back the results. So once we get the results, we can display the results in the way we want it to. Either we can use it in this way. Once we query to multiple entity types, we can use the results and group the results, or once we get the output, it is up to us how we have to display it in our custom application. So in this application, what I have done is there is a component added search.js. Okay, and this component is where the call is actually made. Okay, so once the call is made, it goes to the Graph SDK helper component, and here I'm using hello.js for authentication. So in this call get search, I get the search text, and these are the entity types. Okay, so from this message and this search text, I'm querying and I'm requesting for size 5 results. Okay, and I have enabled top results equal to true, and that's the reason I'm getting the top results in my application. Okay, let us do one thing. I'll remove this top results, save this, and we'll go back. And if you see now, you are getting this Office 365 Message Center email as my first search results. Okay, earlier if you would have seen, it was only showing all the emails which are there with my name. Okay, so let me get back to it. So this is my Outlook. I searched for template, and when I enabled top results equal to true, it is showing me only results which with my name. But if I am not sending that parameter, it is going to show me these messages, all results messages, where Office 365 Message Center and all my other emails. Okay, let me show you that once again. Now I'm not seeing the Office 365 message center message. This is at the bottom and not the first result. Okay, so this is how I can call and search API. Okay, I'm calling the search query API with beta version, and then the results are sent back to my search component, which is displayed on the screen. Okay, let me go back to the presentation. So this was the demo for the application. So what we can do with this search API now. So there are multiple key integration scenarios. Like you can build your own custom web parts in SharePoint and get data from different entities, specifically from your line of business applications, also from Office 365 products. You can embed your search, Microsoft Search, in your LOB applications or your solutions. Also, you can consume the connectors data in multiple areas. If you have any application, say you have Workplace or you have your Adobe AEM, so that data can be pulled back and can, using this search API, you can use the connectors, pull the data and show it in your line of business applications. Okay, so currently this search API is in preview, and every passing day the changes are being updated and are released. The roadmap is available. So I will keep you posted on the new changes on this, and if you have comments or queries against any of the content which is shared here, please make sure to provide your comments, and I'll make sure that those comments or your queries are answered. Thank you.